So let's look at this problem. Mike, an experienced bricklayer, can build a wall in 4 hours, while his son, who is learning, can do the job in 8 hours. How long does it take for them to build a wall together? Now, this is considered a work problem. And a work problem is when two people are trying to work on the same job, but they're working at different speeds. See, if the problem is his son is slow. If Mike worked with someone who was just as fast as he was, if he can finish the job in 4 hours, two people like Mike would finish it in 2 hours. And all of a sudden, this is a trivial problem. But the problem here is his son is slower in terms of how long it takes him to work. Now, let's build an intuition for this problem. Let's look at Mike and let's ask ourselves, if Mike works 4 hours, how many jobs will he finish? Well, he'll finish one job, meaning that he'll finish building one wall. And the reason why is that if he works 4 hours and it takes him 4 hours to do a job, we get one. Now, if Mike works 8 hours, he'll do 2 jobs. And the reason why, if Mike works 8 hours and it takes him 4 hours to do one job, 8 is how long he worked and 4 is how fast he is. He'll do 2 jobs. Now we can also get fractions. If Mike works only 2 hours, he'll do half the job. The reason why is that you have 2 over 4. So the 4 is how fast, and the 2 is how long in terms of time. How long did he work? How fast does he work? Okay, now, the way we want to think about this problem is that we want to look at the amount of work Mike does, or the amount of the job Mike does, plus the amount of the job the son does, is equal to one job. They're building one wall. And I want to know what percent or what fraction of the wall Mike made, and I want to know what fraction of the job his son does. And when they both add up to 1, they finished one wall. Now we could sort of see this over here, this little pattern, that if Mike works T hours, the amount of job that he did is T divided by 4. How long did he work? How fast did he work? So Mike does T divided by 4 amount of the work. You tell me how many hours he worked, and then if we divide by 4, that'll tell you what fraction of the wall he built. Now the son is slower, so it's going to be T over 8 is equal to 1. So let's look at this problem. Let's solve it. Both of them are working the same amount of time. So let's make sure we sort of understand what all these variables mean. This right here is how long do they work? Okay, so they both work T hours. This is how fast they are. And this is how fast the sun is. Okay, so now we have T over 4 plus T over 8 is equal to 1. And in order to solve this problem, we're going to multiply by the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator in this case is 8. So we multiply that by 8, 8, and 8. And then this will cross out, that will cross out, and we'll end up with 2t plus t is equal to 8. 3t is equal to 8, so t is equal to 8 divided by 3 is equal to 2 2/3 hours. So this is how long it takes them to do the job together. Now, let's look at the next problem. Josephine can correct her students' test papers in 8 hours. But if her teacher's assistant helps, it would take them 5 hours. How long would it take for the assistant to do it alone? Okay, now this problem is slightly different. What they give us here is the total time that they work together. And over here, it tells her how fast the teacher is. We want to know how fast is the assistant. This is the question. Okay. Now, let's kind of look at our previous problem. What you can see is this sort of formula. How long divided by how fast plus how long divided by how fast is equal to one job. So we know how fast the teacher is. So we know what this one is. We know the total time, so we know what T is. The thing that we're trying to find out is this over here. How fast is the assistant? Okay. So let's sort of use that as a guide. We know that it takes both of them 5 hours to do the job. And we know that that Josephine can grade it in 8 hours. So this is how fast she is. And what we're trying to find is how fast is the assistant. So 5 over 8 tells me how much of the job Josephine did. So we need this right here to basically equal to 3/8. Now, let me make sure we sort of mark what each one of these mean. Okay. This 5 is the total time they spent together working. That's the how long. They spent 5 hours working on it. This right here is how fast is the teacher, or I guess Josephine. And over here, this is how fast is the assistant. Okay. Now let's solve this problem. We have 5 over 8 plus 5 over x is equal to 1. Now, I can get rid of the x in the denominator by multiplying by the lowest common denominator. In this case, the lowest common denominator is 8x. Okay, this needs an 8, that needs an x. Now, when we simplify, this 8 will cross out with that 8, and this x will cross out with that x. So we'll end up with 5x plus 40 is equal to 8x. And then we'll subtract 5x from both sides. And we'll get 3x is equal to 40. And then we'll divide both sides by 3. So x is equal to 13 1/3 hours. Thank you for watching this video. If it was helpful, please like and subscribe so other people can find it. Thank you.